Everybody got a dream, everybody got a passion. I'ma make it with my team, we gon' keep taking action. I was really down bad, I was broken like a fraction. Everything went left, but I know God is my captain. Everything we go through is based on reaction. We gonna make it to the bank, now we laughing. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Stuck around until we made it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Diamond hands, celebrate it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Don't be fighting, you not gon' make it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Including you gon' make it. Sometimes it all goes wrong, but keep it going. There's a light we're searching for, believe I know. In your mind, negative thought, just let it go. Layouts in the snow. Now we rich off crypto. Yeah, we coming back and now we better than before. Ego is a weapon, gotta use it for your growth. Everyone who hated on them, look at them and go. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Stuck around until we made it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Diamond hands, celebrate it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Don't be fighting, you not gon' make it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. Including you gon' make it.
Okay, we're on mute there for a second. Welcome to the stream. Really breaking news. Disney launching own platform on Flowchain and Dapper Labs. We're going to get into it. This is massive news and going to infect the entire Web3 space, in my opinion, and what the strategy is for Disney and all their IP. So we're going to be diving into exactly what this article says. We got multiple sources here, and it looks like this is confirmed via the media. So we're going to dive into it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop up some articles here. Let me pop on over here. Let's see if this is going to work here. Okay, there we go. Let me actually go over here to this video mode so we can actually see a little bit more on the screen here. Howdy, duck and cover, no sound. How are we doing on the sound now? I believe we have sound now. All right, let's get into it. This is via Decrypt. I'm not sure why it says Scene on here. So I guess Decrypt has like a thing called Scene. So this is like an exclusive coverage. It appears on Decrypt. Decrypt is a pretty credible source. It's one platform I like to use to do some research. Pretty good reporters over there. So Disney reveals NFT platform with Dapper Labs, including Star Wars and Pixar. We know that, Cryptoys, for example, let's pop on over to Cryptoys. They have actually released Star Wars NFTs on Flowchain already. So these are actually fully minted on-chain NFTs, meaning, they're not ZK rollup, ZK proofs, right? These are not your typical, what we've seen previously on platforms like Vivi. So technically it's the first of its kind, and that may not matter to a lot of collectors, or it may in the future, or it may just be two different, you might want to just collect them all, right? Like Pokemon, you got to catch them all. So those are two kind of differences here between the couple different chains out there and how their tech stacks like kind of compare against each other. And again, my thesis with IMX is that in terms of gaming, I don't think gamers are going to care, but in terms of collectibles, that's where I think things may get interesting, and that's up for the community. Obviously that's up for community debate. But that's just a little history on Flowchain, what's been going on in the past, year or two. I mean, Cryptoys has been developing for quite some time, for several years. Very incredible team over there. They even have a mini game and a mobile app coming soon, and which I like their platform so much. I'm actually technically an ambassador, so I want to mention that as well. And of course, Vivi, they have a lot of the Disney NFTs, or, ZK proofs, if you will, on Vivi, like the Golden Moments, or some of the first of its kind of NFTs, if you will, as well on Vivi. So those are kind of the two platforms, what we've seen in the space, what Disney is doing, right? And so, yeah, we're going to be diving into this article, though. It says here, NBA Top Shot maker Dapper Labs is expanding beyond sports with digital Disney pins minted as NFTs on Flow. So this is pretty different, right? These are pins, it sounds like. It reminds me of those pins that we saw with the Platinum moments where they were kind of marking their centennial anniversary. It says here, entertainment giant Disney will launch an NFT collectibles platform with NBA Top Shot maker Dapper Labs called Disney Pinnacle. The company announced, and we're going to hop on over to Disney Pinnacle, Walt Disney, Pixar, and Star Wars. You can see right there, which are no-brainer IPs. You know, we've seen Pixar on Vivi, we've seen Star Wars on both Vivi and Cryptoys, and now you have these pins, which are pretty cool. These are going to be probably pretty unique. I don't know what they will be using them for. You know, could we see some sort of perk or utility out of these that are in the legal sense, in a legal way? That's going to be the question I think that we'll be having to answer, and definitely need to, if you, looks like you need to join the wait list and have a Dapper account. I already know people are going to be spamming this and signing up very quickly. I'm actually going to pop on over to the side over here and join the wait list myself. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump back into the article over here. You can see, again, Floaty. This is one of their secondary. It's a secondary marketplace, NFT back loans, NFT rentals. One of the platforms over there on Dapper. It says here, there's new Dapper project labs, or new Dapper Labs project float on Flowchain. Chase, collect, trade digital pins on your favorite Disney, Pixar, and Star Wars characters, operated by Dapper Labs, an official licensee of Disney. And you can see here Pinnacle, which, you know, yay, we made it. We're almost 429 here. So we're sub 500 followers here. You can see Steve and a couple others already following the Pinnacle account, already on top of the breaking news. But yeah, you can see here what's going on. These pins, pretty unique stuff. We're actually going to kind of post this off to the side as well. Let's see. Let me get back to the chat here and see what you guys are saying. I wonder how this is going to affect Vivi. I don't feel good about this. Yeah, I can hear you. Well, it certainly leaves no excuses for David. No, I don't know. This, again, this is exactly what I predicted here on the channel, is Disney was going to spread their IP and possibly have their own platform. This is exactly what we've seen with licensed IP with Mattel and DC, and people were fighting me hardcore, guys. I got major pushback on this, but I've been exactly right the entire time. This is exactly the strategy that big brands do. I mean, this makes sense, right? You have different formats, and it's not a bad thing if you're a Vivi, you know, Maxi, and excited about it. Listen, I came from Vivi community. I helped launch an entire digital collectibles movement. I know. But this is where, looking at it from the business side of things, this is where things were always going to go. So I don't think we need to always be such maxis on one platform or the other. This is going to give credibility to the digital collecting space. And I think we should all be supporting each other and all be supportive of each platform. And based on what we're seeing here, this is a different, you know, format, like pins. We're talking about, you know, 3D pins. Maybe they're doing something new here. This is something that could be something new that we haven't seen before, and that's okay. It's Disney. Disney can do this. They're the IP owners. I don't think that this is necessarily negative for any platform. I think this is what the natural progression of where Disney was going to go. Just based on, we've seen them have the, we've covered a lot of those, what were they called, patents, those NFT patents. So we knew it was coming, and a lot of people were like, oh, this is going to be Vivi. And I was like, no, this is going to be Disney, because Disney is the patent owner and they can kind of do what they want with that. So this was always going to come down the road, in my opinion. I think we've seen signs of what was going to be, and this is just proving kind of exactly what has happened, right? So again, I think a lot of people, you know, that gave me a lot of pushback and a lot of, you know, a hate to what was going on in the space. This is exactly, again, I was right with Vivi. I was right with, you know, what was going on Cryptoys, and I still think Cryptoys is going to be major. It's their own unique, like, spin on a brand, and that's okay, right? They're like kind of like digital Funkos, but in a Cryptoys like twist, right? And I think that's cool. I think that's cool that new platforms and new toy digital collectibles in toys are being launched. I think this is a huge win in the space. Now, Disney on the stock side, maybe they're not doing so well over there, but in terms of what we're seeing in Web3, this again is the future, and this is not a too big of a surprise to see this kind of strategy roll out. If I'm in marketing, I own a brand, I'm probably going to do the same thing, right? So I don't think we should be, you know, too, you know, I guess like fudding it, right? You know, I know a lot of people get really excited about one platform and one group of founders, and that's okay. You know, if you want to be a fan of a founder, that's totally cool. But you know, if you're like me and you like brands, what brands are doing in the space, and it brings back that nostalgia for you, and you're a true collector, and you just like to collect in different formats, like I have collectibles right there that I have Batman from Kid Robot, which is where Frank Kozik used to manage over there. He's the chief creative officer. I have I have a statue of the Todd McFarlane Batman, as you guys know, just over there, and different formats, right? This is always going to be the case with digital collectibles. It's going to mimic the toy industry. I was the first one to say that before we had all these, you know, collector, quote unquote, creators in the space. And now that they're here, we're probably going to see them start transitioning into other platforms too. I know that there's slow progression, but we call this early on, right? You look at the My Collectibles, even the Sleeping Comics, and those kind of collectors. I would consider them true collectors, but even they are starting to dabble in other platforms. This is where collectors, you know, just enjoy collecting. I think different formats, different styles. Can you imagine if, you know, they dropped Legos on here? You know, My Collectibles would be absolutely ecstatic, right? And I think he would just collect anywhere. And I don't want to speak for him. I'm just saying this is where I see the future. And I know I got a lot of pushback originally, but this is where things are going to go. And I think other brands are going to do the similar thing. With FlowChain, the technology is kind of set up for mainstream adoption already as well. With Dapper, again, they are the OGs in the space. You talk about CryptoKitties. Way back then, they faced scaling issue. They created their entire blockchain. They created the ERC 721 standard. That is the most used standard in the entire NFT space, literally to this day. And they have a lot of know-how. They are one of the most experienced teams in the entire industry. And this is kind of playing out. They have NBA, NFL, UFC, and now Disney, right? So this was always going to happen when you have such an experienced team like that in the digital space, right? So yeah, that's not too big of a big surprise. Now, if you're new to the space, people that joined in 2021, you know, it's your first time collecting NFTs. You've been around for a couple of years now. You're still learning. Like 2 years doesn't make you a expert. You really have to have longevity in the space. And I've been around since 2017 and really earlier. I found Bitcoin when I was like a kid. So I have a lot of experience in digital. I built my own computer. There's just a lot of experience I have in tech, just being in tech and growing up in tech, and, you know, calling a lot of these predictions. You know, I was one of the first kids that like transacted on eBay probably. So yeah, this is where things were going to go. A lot of people didn't really expect this, but you know, again, this goes back with experience in the digital space. It says here, inspired by the physical pins Disney sells at its theme parks and that fans collect and trade, Disney Pinnacle will offer inspired digital collectibles that are minted as NFTs on the Flow blockchain. So yeah, there you go. Fans can trade and collect. This is a big win at theme parks. So yeah, those are going to be reminiscent of those, you know, platinum moment style pins we saw. And who knows, they could sprinkle these pins. They could do different style of pins. So don't get your hopes up just yet. If you're like sad to see them, you know, on a different platform, I think they're just going to continue to expand. Again, the goal here is that the blockchain isn't, you know, the first thing that people see, right? This is where things are going. Dapper is very highly scalable with the flow chain. Like, this team is very, very experienced. And they have the Doodles now, which is a prominent NFT blue chip collection, is what I consider, that has mainstream potential. And yeah, like, this is where things are going to go. So I know a lot of people, I've been talking about Flow blockchain for the past few months, and this is definitely going to give Flow blockchain a boost here. It says the platform will include digital pins on Disney, Pixar, and Star Wars characters and properties. In an interview with Decrypt, Dapper Lab CEO Raham mentioned such characters as Buzz Lightyear and Woody from Toy Story, the Disney princesses, and Darth Vader from Star Wars as some that will be in the mix here. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be quite a good mix here. These are some of their most popular IP, Pixar, Star Wars, while Disney also owns Marvel. The comic book IP wasn't mentioned in the announcement. As said, Marvel is coming to the platform. Gahare Gazlu, I'm going to butcher this last name. Sorry, Roham, I apologize for that. But it says not at launch. So that's interesting. He didn't say no, but it looks like Marvel may be coming over here to Flowchain as well. Again, these will be quite different from what's on VV and Mutable X, because Immutable X uses ZK rollup technology, which are essentially proofs, right? So some would still consider those NFTs, but if you like just to collect, like why not just collect them over here too, right? It's like having all the different kinds of Funkos and all the different kinds of, different formats I could collect like Darth Vader on. I would obviously collect them on all of them. Like I have Batman over there and different figurines and different formats, right? And so I think this is where when people get past like this whole, platform allegiance and they like the brands, then I think they're just gonna go. I think mainstream aren't gonna care where they're at. I think they're just gonna be, literally just collecting wherever. It doesn't feel like it's on a blockchain, right? It's just going to be, hey, I'm just collecting this NFT or this digital collectible on this platform because I like the brand. And I think that's where the future is. And interoperability, I think, will be big too. We saw Roblox mention interoperability, and I do think that's where things could go, given that the technology allows, right? And that's kind of a different discussion because there's a lot of roadblocks there, not only on the IP legal side, but on the technical side as well. But we're seeing those start to develop, and I think long term, that's where things will go too. When you're talking about like quote unquote the metaverse and all these things that I think we're seeing a convergence in technology, AI, AR, VR, game development, gaming engines, which really are just drive the engine of all the platforms like Vivi, for example, the AR side. Unity is a gaming engine. And we're seeing the convergence of all these, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and pop on over to chat. I see a lot of movement in chat right there. Let me see if I can pull up. I know on Twitter, it's been kind of weird. I don't know if anybody's on Twitter. So let me try to see if you're over there on Twitter. I got the chat finally pulled up. It's a little bit different on Twitter now. They updated it to where you can see chat. Unfortunately, I can't see it on my platform over here, but let's see here. Wonder if there'll be interoperability we can display in the VVverse since they are static collectibles as well. They might. That's a good point. That's a really good point. If you're going to be big on the VVverse, then yeah, that's a good question. They did mention that you could do that, Dan Crothers and all that. So you could possibly see that. I think that's a good question. And, if you're big on the VVverse, you might want to do that. I don't see myself being big on the VVverse, but I don't want to necessarily, say that fully yet, because I want to be in there. I want to experience it and I want to see it for myself. I think, what Tails did is crazy and incredible. But I'm more of like, I want to see the AR side specifically because I saw that at DCon, and that's what kind of impressed me, years ago, was the side where, you could actually see it like with the goggles. And I know the MetaQuest 3 is way better. Like, again, guys, I think the MetaQuest 3 is going to outperform the Apple's headset by leaps and bounds. I think they're going to sell way more units than the Vision Pro until Apple can get it cheaper and more affordable. But if you want to move around in the VVverse in AR, the MetaQuest 3 is a no-brainer. Like, it's in my opinion, just because it has controllers, you have way more control. It's built for gaming, built for experiences, where the Apple Vision Pro is made for productivity. Until they can really figure out ways to integrate controllers and all that stuff. But I think it's going to be still cool. I just think that the MetaQuest 3 is going to be better out of the box for what people want to use it for, which is entertainment and gaming. So, but yeah, that's like where I naturally think want to see how the VVverse is going to perform on like the MetaQuest 3 moving forward, on the other headsets moving forward as well. But that's where I want to see, because that's what one of the primary use cases was supposed to be anyways. And will we see like each other running around in the VVverse, like in AR too? Like, what is that going to look like? Well, if I put on a headset and I blow my showroom up, can I just see people walking on my, you know what I mean? So those are the questions that I have. And again, they're going to have to figure those things out, and it may take years for them to develop that. Like, Cavernous is new. They got a little bit of funding from, I think it was Unreal Engine themselves or something like that. I did a couple of videos on it a long time ago. But they're going to have a ways to go to develop. I mean, Cavernous themselves, not Vivi, but Cavernous is the developers behind Cavernous. They're going to be the ones that are going to have to develop that platform to really scale it. And it's not necessarily made for one, building entire experiences. It's made for kind of that Web 2 interoperability, so and kind of adopting like the physics in those different experiences, that's where I always said Vivi could go and they should go. I don't know if they will go for a while until they can really figure things out and button up like a lot of, back end issues and back end scalability and all that stuff. And of course, Cavernous might have their own problems and issues too. So it may take a while before we see like these robust features. It may take years. So if people are cool with waiting years, then that's cool. Let's go ahead and just jump into the chat. I saw Disney are doing an AR collectible hunt in the biggest supermarket chain in Australia where you win $300 collectibles. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. I saw that they're like experimenting in the Indian market with some VR app a long time ago. Hey, SoCal, hey, Omi, Alex and Crypto. What's going on, man? Good to see you guys in chat. Dakota Strange. What's up? What's good? Let's see. We got G is Us. Great insights from G is Us on Twitter, on X. Super excited for Disney pins. Says Yo Steph. Yo, what's going on, Yo Steph? Appreciate you. Yo Steph is awesome, man. She got the dot swoosh alpha and the Bat Cows alpha. Franelations in the house. One of the OGs in the community. If you don't know who Franelations is by now, I don't know what you've been doing. Franelations 23. Let's go, he says. And yeah, man, I'm pretty pumped about this too. Let's see here. GMG says VV Wills, rip speculation. Do we know the drop date and price for this yet? Unfortunately, we don't. It just says like enter this wait list, which is over there on DisneyPinnacle.com. The VV versus VV product and not a Disney product. It'll be separate. Well, I mean, Disney has a say because they're the IP holder and it's like their IP. But let's see, the Viviverse is a Vivi product. Oh, the Viviverse. Yeah, the Viviverse is for sure. But they still have to have that brand approval from Disney. And then I'm not sure what you mean there, Beanster, by it'll be separate. Like, what do you mean? Like, we won't be able to port these into the Viviverse? Is that what you're trying to say? I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. Richard says, hey, everyone, I want to see a killer AR experience myself, too. Hey, man. Yeah, we're ready for it, dude. This is the future. Mixed reality, AR. I'm really pumped for the future, man. We're starting to see a lot of developers starting to put out these cool applications in mixed reality and AR. And when you mix AI in this whole mix, things get very interesting and very wild, right? Very quickly. Like, you can develop apps much faster. You can develop much more robust apps doing crazy stuff. You have like, obviously, like avatars and things like that talking, or, NPCs doing their own thing as well in some of these games and metaverses. I think that's going to be where the future is. And then, of course, mixed reality is just going to be on a different level. I don't think people are ready and really understanding how crazy AR and mixed reality is going to get. We're going to be like, it's going to be like insane, right? Some people know, I mean, you've been watching my channel, so I know you guys know, but like outside of you guys, like things are going to get pretty crazy. Sound Money says, give me that Vader pin. Yeah, dude, let's go, man. I want that Vader pin as well. I'm super pumped about Star Wars. I don't know about you guys. Star Wars is my jam. And I'm super pumped about this one. You can see that Star Wars with the force choke going on. Let's watch this clip here again. I didn't really pay attention, honestly, to the these clips. So you can see the magic. You can see that Mickey, Vader, Woody. So those are going to be the three. So it looks like it may just be very limited initially, and it does look like it's gold and platinum. So it does, again, this is a celebration around Disney Centennial, their golden moments. It looks like they're and how you can kind of collect. So this will be interesting. Again, these are the theme parks that, they're going to basically put these in the theme park. So this is pretty interesting. And I thought that's where they might go because, at their theme parks, that's very, Disney wants to have full control on that end, I think. I mean, perhaps if you want to take, obviously you can take Vivi in with your phone and just do AR. And of course, I think Cryptoys is going to have their own mobile app too. So it's not like you can't take your NFTs into the Disney theme park, right? You can still take a picture with your collectibles and AR and all that stuff. It says Dapper's VP of Business Development and Partnerships told Decrypt that she introduced Disney to Dapper Labs when she was a partner at a VC giant, Andreessen Horowitz, which is one of the biggest VCs ever in Web3. It's a massive VC. She joined Dapper in 2021 and was able to unite the firms for this collaboration after making the original connection between them. Now, that's where things really got interesting back in the NFT space, is 2021. Dapper Labs is best known for the dramatic mainstream success that NBA Top Chef's experienced as the NFT market first took flight in 2021. The company, which had previously launched the influential Ethereum NFT CryptoKitties, built a flow chain to handle broader scale consumer applications like collectible platforms and games. So when you're talking about OGs that like have been in the space for a long time, you got to mention flow chain. A lot of people like to be like, oh, they were, talk about VV, but really Flowchain was, they were here for a very, very long time. And they built a lot of the different standards in the Ethereum space. So they definitely have a lot of experience. They have a right to be here is what I'm trying to say. Flow has been gradually decentralized over time, and they'll probably continue to be. The Disney Pinnacle announcements comes amid recent signs of revival for the NFT market, which had lost considerable steam following the peaks of 2021 and early 2022. Roham suggested that the next wave of platforms and apps built around the true digital ownership will look and feel better than those that first introduced NFTs to the masses. So I think he's just talking about like not VV, but like the degen style of NFTs. So I think he's just saying on that end. So I wouldn't take that out of context. I know people are probably going to try to take that out of context. Don't let them take that out of context. He's talking about like the degen stuff out there. And you know what I'm talking about. When we launched our last suite of products, it was clear that NFTs were still sort of out of in their digital dial-up stage in the sense of things like, or the kinds of products you had access to and how portable and interoperable everything was. He said, we're so excited about where the future of this technology is going, how much better products are going to get over the coming years. And I agree. I think he's trying to say, platforms and brands like Disney and platforms like Dapper and what we've seen with Cryptoys and Vivi are going to be more mainstream palatable than obviously like some of the degen plays we've been seeing, the degen artworks and things like that, which are still going to be pop culture. Like I don't think, like for example, I don't think Basie is going to go anywhere. Yuga Labs, I think they're going to be around for a very long time. I think they made it to pop culture phenomenon, and I just don't think they're going to go away. They're going to, obviously they hired a lot of good talent at Bored Ape Yacht Club and Basie and what they have going on with ApeCoin and the Ape DAO. They've dropped Gucci NFTs and collabs. So they're bringing brands and pop culture brands into the space in Web3 as well. So that's another platform that I don't think will go away. I think that's going to be more like pop culture, culture just in general, like what's trendy, but you still have brands are just kind of its own little niche, right? It's like its own, like people know, trust, and love brands already, so there's a lot less marketing you need to do. It's just going to come down to making it feel like these are not NFTs. And it doesn't feel like you don't need to be a tech expert to like buy these. That's where I think a lot of platforms are going to have a lot of success there. But yeah, let's go ahead and pop on over here. This is just their first platform over here on Twitter, as you can see right there on Twitter. Let me get to chat real quick. Caught a lot of different screens. I finally got this cool like prompter thing up here, so I can actually make it look like I'm looking at the camera when I'm talking and looking at you guys and all that stuff. All right, let's go back to the chat here. Carlos says, cool. Imagine they start releasing Marvel Comics too. Yeah, that would be nuts. I don't know if they will, but just because that would be kind of different if they did, right? I don't know if they would do that, but it would be. I do think I think they'll continue to do pins and kinds of stuff like that. Kind of a different collectible model, different format. I mean. All right. So I just got to post about this video, and there we go. Post it on X. Pins. All right, let me get back to the chat. Besides crypto toys, doing AR, AI, what is another big one you know of? Like, what do you mean by that? So do you think like you mean in just AR and AI in general? Now, I think that if you're talking about those two specifically, Artifact. So Nike, remember Nike bought Artifact? Well, Artifact was actually featured at NVIDIA. So NVIDIA themselves they had some of the founders and team members from Artifact on to talk about AI and digital collectibles specifically. And Artifact was one of the OGs. Like you had Vivi and Artifact doing a lot of like, at the time back in 2021, 2022, some pretty leading edge stuff. And then I feel like Artifact has continued to like progress in the tech side of things. Not to say like Vivi's not, it's just Artifact is at the cutting edge, the very, very pinnacle of tech. And so they got featured at NVIDIA talking about like AI and integrating it into their avatars. And they were one of the platforms that are pretty early. They obviously were doing the NFC chips inside their like merch. So that was another thing that they were doing, that, their sweaters had like wings. So if you had like AR glasses and goggles on or whatever, that you would be able to see the wings like spreading from the hoodie. And that's one of the like, kind of OGs in the sense in the fashion side of things and culture where things could go to. Like Artifact was one of the first ones to really do that. And that's obviously why Nike bought them. Nike knows where the future is going as well. And they just said, hey, let's buy this studio. And they did. That's another good one. Artifact's always doing well. I mean, it's always at the top of the list of like best collections out there. You start looking at the charts, like they're always up there. Artifact, Murakami, the artwork they done, like the shoe junkies, like Franelations over here. He was in the chat earlier. Big shoe collector, and one of the most notable shoe collectors in the entire Web3 space, I might add. And so yeah, like Artifact, he has some of those shoes from Artifact as well, or like those minted ones you could claim. And they look cool. I mean, they're like light up and all kinds of stuff. So I think Artifact is a big one in terms of where they're going with things as well. AI, AR. And fashion and all that, even in the metaverse. So on the metaverse side, I think they're doing a good job too. Miss Marvel comic waitlist just open. Okay, Miss Marvel. I'm not really big into Miss Marvel, but if you want to collect that, the waitlist just open. Let's see here. All Chat Gaming. Yo, LFG. Yo, what's going on, All Chat? Hey, Alex. Let's see there. Pikachu. Hey, when Pokemon, like, come on, Pokemon would kill it. We have all these brands, and I know, like, obviously Pokemon's super, like, protective over their IP, but that would be just a no-brainer in the space. Rip speculation. Do we know the drop date and price? I already read some of those. I think I'm caught up on the comics or the comments. I almost said comics. I don't know why. You guys got me thinking about comics now. Imagine they start releasing. Okay, cool pins. All right, I think we're good on that. Let's go over to Twitter or X. We have 19 viewers over there. Appreciate it, man. I'm just trying something new here. As you guys know, I've been streaming on X for a little while, but this was so big that I had to just jump back on here and do it again. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and close it out unless you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about that. I think we covered off the full article here. You can catch that over on Decrypt if you want to read that full article, which is pretty good. It has a lot of information in there on that. And of course, you have Cryptoids and Vivi with the Star Wars, Disney NFTs and things like that. If you want to kind of see where that goes. Let's take a look here. Well, actually, let's close it off there. Keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Earn free pins by participating in contests, events, and tasks. Yeah, so those pins might be a flex. Like, I'm very curious to see what those pins will do. If you're interested in those, you might want to sign up for this wait list so you can be first to know what's going on here. I think this is a big win for fans. I definitely could see, like Vivi Magic doing this, right? She's at the park. My uncle is at the park just as much as Vivi Magic. Like, he's like Club 33 guy, like, he goes to the park all the time. He lives in Cali, Disneyland. So I grew up going to Disneyland quite a bit as well. I used to have like all the autograph. Anyways, I think this is where things are going to go for Disney in the future here. Like where they'll really excel when people start adopting AR collectibles and things like that. It just might take a little bit of time for everybody to get up to speed on that. All right, that's all I got for this one. Later, Richard, peace. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next stream. Share, like, subscribe, do all of the things. And if you enjoyed the stream, it helps us break through all these different various algorithms on each platform. And it is really much appreciated, guys. I really do appreciate the free support and all that stuff too. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream. Peace, love, be like an NFT, be authentic, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Everybody keeps saying, man. Wait, I'll just wait till. I'll go, this go crazy. I was praying for a better day. I was hustling, had to make a play. So the NFT, now my money straight. We in Web3 in the meta space. They was pressing me like an AMA. Feel like Gucci with a lemonade. Please excuse me if you feel away. In the metaverse and I'm getting paid. Augmented reality, living life lavishly, yo. I captured my life and I made it a gallery, yo. I told my story and made it my salary, yo. I put my family on that, they proud of me, yo. I'm not the one you could play with. Don't you know it could get dangerous? Not worried about getting famous. I just wanna pull up and lane switch. This era decentralization birthed a new civilization. Crypto been doing amazing. Bank account multiplication.